Awesome.
Cool. All right. So now that we know where you're coming from, let's just talk about who we are. So my name is Charlie Chapman. I'm glad to be back. Big thanks to Matt in Pair 2 for filling in while I was traveling the globe, eating lots of good food in Asia. But I am back. So I am Charlie Chapman. I'm a developer advocate at RevenueCat and self-proclaimed captain of the Shipaton. And with me this time is Joven from Mobbin. Thank you for joining, Joven.
Thanks for having me here.
And then Vahe from Paywalls.design, who's been involved in a bunch of RevenueCat weird side projects lately.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for organizing this.
And so these live streams, the whole point of these is to be interactive with you all. And this one in particular is, I think, a extremely good opportunity to ask designers and paywall experts questions about things that you're dealing with in your app. You know, we're about halfway through the Shipaton. Although I know lots of people are just joining now, which last year's hackathon was actually only a month. So you're okay if you're just joining now. But a lot of you are probably at the stage where you're implementing in-app purchases or something into your app and you're trying to design a paywall. And so this is a great opportunity to ask questions and figure out, you know, what's good advice for designing your paywall or just designs around your app in general. So best place to do that is if you're in the webinar itself in Livestorm, you can ask questions directly in there. There's a questions tab. That's the best place to do it. But there's also a chat. Love to see hellos, or you can throw a question in there too. But there's a chance I might not see it. And then if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or anywhere else, you can join the Discord and throw questions in there. I'll be monitoring that. So please put your questions in here. We're not going to have a hard time filling an hour with the conversation here, but it's going to be a lot more fun if we're getting questions from you all directly. So definitely do that. All right, let's go around the horn and talk about what's happening in the world of Shipaton. So the build in public energy across the internet has gotten very exciting. It's even more dense than before. So much stuff is happening, but I just want to highlight 3 that I saw recently that are pretty exciting. So Sans just started actually a couple days ago. Actually, a couple days ago, I was in Korea at a meetup, and she was there and came up to me and said, "Is it too late to start now?" And I was like, "No, like absolutely, this would be a good time." And then she already started. I think that she has like 2 or 3 videos already talking about what she wants to build and what she's building. So very cool to see people just now getting started and already generating a bunch of cool content and getting the ball rolling. U5 has this really interesting app. Actually, it looks like they've already shipped like multiple apps, which is kind of cool. But the latest one they started building is this AI nail designer app. So you can just take a picture of your hands and it will add different nail designs based on ones that you see online onto your hand, which I just thought was a really kind of cool idea. And then Jorge is doing a bunch of YouTube videos about their process of building. And those have been really cool to watch kind of come through. So those are some cool ones we're seeing. There's a lot of them. So definitely check out the hashtag. Shipaton hashtag is probably the easiest one to look at on basically any social media or YouTube, and just see a whole bunch of really cool stuff coming across. Also, there's been a bunch of Shipaton in real life events all over the place. I think they've covered a lot of them that have been happening. I was at some in Korea, for example. But there's 2 other ones that I don't think we've talked about yet. So in Chennai in India, there was an Indie Hub event with a bunch of people. Pizza looked like a really good time. And then also in the Philippines, there was an event with, I think it was Swift PH and Flutter Group there. And that one looked super awesome. Michi organizes a lot of cool events. If you've ever come to WWDC, she does some really cool stuff there as well. So it was cool seeing her hometown group and them doing a Shipaton event. So that's very exciting. And there's a bunch coming up as well. So on Friday, there's going to be one in Helsinki. On Saturday, there's one in Delhi and another one in India. In the UK, there's actually a couple coming up. There's one in Manchester on Monday, and then on next Wednesday, not this coming Wednesday, there's an event in London at the Ramen Space co-working space, which looks very, very cool. I really wish I could go to that one because that's kind of a group I've been following for a while, and that one will be really, really exciting, I think. And then also, there's one in my hometown in St. Louis, Missouri. My sort of starting to grow a STL Swift meetup in St. Louis, and we are doing kind of our first like real meetup. We do lunches all the time, but we actually got some space. We're gonna have food, and we're gonna talk about shipping apps. So very excited about that, and can't wait to see pictures from all these events. All right, so let's get into the actual program here. So this is going to be about designing an effective paywall, but we're also going to talk about one of our sponsors and contributor to the ship kit, Mobbin. And so I'm going to pass it over to Joven to kind of talk about what Mobbin is and how you can use it for overall for designs for your app, and then also for designing your paywall.
Thank you, Charlie. So I'm going to start with just introducing what Mobbin is, if you haven't heard of Mobbin already. So Mobbin, you can think of it as like an extremely large and comprehensive database of real-world app designs from best-in-class apps around the world. So for example, we feature apps like Duolingo, Airbnb, Pinterest, and so on and so forth. A lot of indie apps in there as well. And the idea behind this is so that, as an app developer, instead of having to take out your phones and do a bunch of screenshots to figure out, hey, what the best practices are, you go to Mobbin, and it's a database where you can search very specific screen patterns, UI elements, or user flows, and see it neatly organized for inspiration and research purposes. I'm going to show you guys a demo in a bit, but overall, just think of Mobbin as kind of like Pinterest for UI UX design research to find real world design inspiration without having to sieve through like a bunch of conceptual UI UX designs on, say, Dribble or Behance. People use it to benchmark and do competitor research effortlessly, and also discover best practices and stay up to date with the latest design trends. Yeah, and next slide. Yeah, and then to give a little bit of historical context to Mobbin, we actually started Mobbin when the three of us, me and my two other co-founders, Jiho and JJ, we ourselves were mobile app developers back in 2018, actually. And when we were developing our apps back then, I was building a journaling app, Jiho was building like a personal finance app, I believe, that got actually quite large in Korea. We realized that one big problem is that we were screenshotting a lot of apps for references, right? And our photo albums were just like full of these screenshots. So we created like a Dropbox file, like that's like V0 of Mobbin, and we just like dumped all the screenshots in there. And then we organized it. Okay, these are like paywall screens, these are like onboarding flows. We shared that around our app builder community, and like people were nudging us to build Mobbin as like an actual project. So we shipped it on Product Hunt, and it just took off from there. So the mobile app.
By the way, it is crazy to me that this started in 2018 because 2019 was when I became an iOS developer, and the designer on my team like recommended this as if it was this industry standard that everybody used, and I've been using it for all of my apps since. So I thought it was much older than that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love to hear that. I think we have a lot of users that went back to like 2019, 2018, back when Mobbin was still like completely free, and it's just like this little toy that we created. And just a little bit more context, we were doing this in college back then, so we were still students. And we only graduated in 2020 and went full time and kind of built that library out. Yeah, so mobile apps was like our first love. We were mobile app developers. We have curations going back to 2018, which I'll show you guys in a bit. And then in 2022, we introduced web apps as well into our curation library. And then 2025, we started going to websites as well. So the idea here is that we want to eventually build out like the biggest database of UI and UX inspiration think of it as kind of like the Wayback Machine, but for UI UX design that's fully searchable, and it will eventually index a lot of good design and just archive it over a long period of time. And that would be a very useful and cool tool. That's what we believe in. Next slide. Yeah, so I'm gonna jump into Mobbin and just show you guys some features. So I'm going to touch on just like the general features for now, and then I'll dive deep into paywall design, which is the topic that we're going to discuss today. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of orientate you around the product so that you can kind of see how this might be useful in your app development process. So I'm on the homepage of Mobbin right now, and I'm on the Pro plan, which all of you should have 3-month free access to the Pro plan if you are joining Shipaton.
So yeah, look in your ShipKit email, and there's a promo code that you can use for that.
Yeah. So just for starters to orientate you here, we organized Mobbin into iOS apps, web apps, and sites. And over here, you can kind of see like the filters that we have. Like these are just like a teaser. But if you click on the search bar, you can see that actually we have tagged all these by its individual, I would say, atomic elements of what goes into a screen, what is a UI element, and what makes up a user flow, right? So you can actually search very granular things like, okay, sign up screens, login screens, forget password, empty states, like everything that you need to make, like to design and build a mobile app, right? And UI elements, you have elements like buttons, accordions, checkbox, color picker, search bars. So that's how we really design Mobbin, to make it like super granular so that you can look at very specific things and just see how people design it in the real world. And finally, user flows, which I think is one of the most beloved feature on Mobbin. So you can search something like onboarding, and then essentially you have 743 different examples of onboarding flows that you can look at. And some of these are really cool because like we also capture the videos, right? So if you are looking at like the specific part of this, like say this, you can just hop onto the timestamp and you jump right into that part of the video, and you'll be able to see how the interactions work over there. So this is filtering across like many different apps. You can also add combination filters. So for example, if you have the sign up and then you add like forgot password, you can kind of search by the text and screenshot. What's very relevant for you guys would be say paywall, right? Okay, I'm gonna unfilter this, and then you can search for like basically if you're thinking of something to add a paywall, say like a lifetime plan, right? You can see exactly which apps are offering that lifetime plan. Does that app look like yours? And like, should you be considering doing this, right? So think of it as that research database tool.
Yeah, that feature right there has come in clutch for me many times, where I'm looking for a specific weird, how does everybody else handle this? Another one that I often will do is all plans, where you know how some people have those buttons at the bottom, and just having a dozen examples of apps that do exactly that in seconds is awesome. So much faster than downloading, a dozen apps and trying to go through all their onboarding.
Yeah, I'll still recommend everyone to download apps and give it a shot, because like it's still important to understand the nuances that we can't fully capture in Mobbin. But over time, we're trying to introduce more and more features that captures those nuances. For example, animations, micro interactions. We are going to introduce that into our library end of this quarter or early Q4, which I'm very excited about, because like there's a lot of amazing apps with micro interactions. So one good example here is the example I always go to is Duolingo. And I want to show you one last feature before we move on to paywalls. It's the flow trees. And I think a lot of people miss out on this feature, but it's incredibly powerful. what we've done here is that for every app that we curate, we actually curate based on the flow tree, so that we fully understand how that information architecture of the app flows, right? So we don't just like screenshot and call it a day. So we actually like deck it out flow by flow. And if you look at how we organize this, right? For example, home is like the top of the hierarchy, right? And you have all these individual flows that goes into that home page. And then you have quests, you have the practice hub, right? So this allows you to kind of see that big picture overview. And what's super interesting about this is you could also filter by certain flows and see where exactly it lies in that flow tree. So for example, Duolingo is a freemium app, right? So what we've done in our curation process is that we make sure to play around with that free plan enough before subscribing to Super, and then subscribing to Max, because they have different tiers. They got free, Super, and Max, right? So the flow tree allows you to have a better understanding of this without having to take like 600 screenshots of Duolingo and see what's up. Yeah, so you can look at the videos too, because Duolingo has a lot of interesting like micro interactions and animations, which makes it very useful. Yeah, so I'll say like Marvin is in general like a simple app. Just play around a bit and definitely hit us up if you have any feedback. We're constantly trying to improve. One last thing to showcase before I move on to paywalls is we recently introduced widgets, live activities, and dynamic islands. So I think the out-of-app experience is getting more and more important, not just the in-app experience. So we are thinking about how we can do those things as well. Eventually, we want to evolve Marvin into kind of like a graph where you can see the whole user journey, not just in-app, but out-of-app as well. So things like push notifications, the landing page, the sites, the emails that you get, and so on and so forth. Every single part of that user journey, in-app and out-of-app. So this is one small step towards that. So this is widgets. There's dynamic islands as well. Let's see. Yeah, dynamic islands is basically these things, right? And then obviously there's live activities, which is getting really, really popular. In some specific niches like food delivery, very popular. You can kind of see how, airlines, you can see how Duolingo has this and things like that. Yeah, so we are constantly evolving this as design trends shift and improving the library as we go. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna talk about specifically paywalls. And I think I already shared this, but you can easily search for paywall examples on Marvin here. What you want to do is, if you are starting out fresh, my recommendation, I'm not sure what Vahe would or Charlie would recommend, but my recommendation is keep it simple, right? Just go with a design that works. And when you're starting out, you're trying to look for product market fit, right? So you just pick something simple that works. Focus on finding product market fit. And once you find product market fit and you have your first revenue, then it makes sense to start A/B testing things, which I'll touch on a bit. There's a lot of tactical things that you can do to improve like your paywalls from the first version. But just start off simple would be my recommendation. And if you go on Marvin, you can kind of see like a lot of paywall examples that are simple that you can just like be inspired by. I believe the RevenueCat has like a paywall library as well that you can use. They have a paywall tool that has templates in it. That's awesome. Just start there is my recommendation. See how other people are doing it. Don't reinvent the wheel too much and focus on shipping fast and getting feedback from customers, right? If you want to see specific things, you can just hop here and like see, for example, if you want to introduce a weekly plan, right? you can just search by weekly and see how people are doing it. You can search by lifetime, see how people are doing it. Just collect some examples and see, hey, has this been done? You'll notice that different industries have very different ways of designing paywalls. So for example, let's see, I actually collected some specific examples for you guys here. Over time, you'll notice that certain industries do, like, for example, the dating industry, they all have the same paywall because they've all like A/B tested their way into the same direction. So for example, Bumble, Tinder, right? They all have the same thing, which is like they have a weekly plan, a monthly plan, a 3-month plan. They have different tiers as well, and so on and so forth. So it really is contextual to the industry or the category of app that you're going for. So you want to look at paywalls in that category and try not to reinvent the wheel too much first. Once you have revenue, you can start A/B testing, which once you're ready, you can use ABtest.design, which is a resource that we've compiled with a lot of examples. So let me just walk through some of these, and then I have one final slide before I pass the time over to Vahe. So if you go to ABtest.design, it's basically a curation of A/B test results from the best in class apps. The reason why we created this is because like Mobbin has a lot of like what people are doing, but some of our users are like, okay, why do they do this then, right? And we weren't able to answer that until we started doing research here. So for example, you see a lot of apps doing this timeline thing, right? The idea is to reduce anxiety for free trials. And Blinkist has kindly shared the A/B test results, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And like you could take this and like kind of like tell your team, hey, like this guy's tried it and they saw these results. Like, why don't we A/B test this, right? Or if you want, you could just implement this from the get-go. It's up to you. So this is why there's so many apps doing this. A few more examples. Another interesting thing is that you'll see a lot of apps offering free trials only on the annual plan. And the reason for this is because like consumer SaaS apps have crazy churn. And people on the annual plan churn a lot less. So you want to incentivize users to go on annual plan. And that's for retention purposes, right? And if you look at Duolingo, when they IPO'd, right, they actually showed a graph where the composition or the mix of billing intervals that they have, monthly versus annual, is shifted from like 40% annual to like 70% annual in like a 3-year horizon, right? So they're really optimizing for that annual plan. And you want to like read in between the lines and see how they've evolved over time to understand, how are they getting more and more people to the annual plan. And this is one of that tiny experiments that really increase the conversion rates for annual plan, right? Not just Moonly, but apps like Headspace, they're doing it as well. The other thing is there's many ways to design a paywall, right? There's hard paywalls, soft paywalls, there's freemium. And that's one big question that app developers always have. It's like, okay, should I have a hard paywall, soft paywall, or freemium, right? There's no right answer for that because like it really depends on the category of the app as well as the competition that you have. I think in general, the advice I see going around is usually, okay, if you're first starting out, do a hard paywall because that's the easiest way to validate if you have PMF, right? But eventually you want to evolve into some form of freemium so that you can get that organic word of mouth growth as well. So if you look at apps like AllTrails, Duolingo, right? Those that dominate the top charts, most of them are freemium. Strava, for example. And the reason for that is because like you only get a lot more downloads because a lot of people are not willing to pay for apps, but they still want the value from those apps. And if you can get a lot of people to download the apps on the free plan as well, it will drive your chart rankings up and you get a lot of organic downloads from being at the top of the charts, right? Yeah, but I would say that advice kind of holds true. Like if today I were to build an app, it really depends on the category again. It's contextual, but consider bringing like hard paywall first and then evolving your way to freemium. But this is Slopes. They realized that having like a soft paywall works better for their industry rather than hard paywall. So plenty of these examples. Like I mentioned, Headspace. So interestingly, they have like 14-day free trial for annual plan and only 7 days for monthly. Right? You got to read in between the lines and try to understand why they're doing that. Another interesting one is this: defaulting to annual plan and having a little button here that says view all plans. It's like a very tiny thing, but you realize that apps like Duolingo, apps like Ahead, right? Some of these consumer SaaS apps, they do it too. What they realized is that if they actually default to annual and have their view all plans, most people just like, they don't even click on this, right? They just like go for the annual plan. Yeah, and it works because like they saw like a 20% increase in yearly subscriptions just by defaulting to annual subscriptions. So there's plenty of these things that you can look at this. Another one that's really important is you shouldn't look at paywalls in isolation, but think of it as that whole onboarding process leading up to the paywall, right? That whole flow. You should really think about that because it matters a lot, right? So an app like Oppo, I believe they actually copied this from Flow, which Vahe is working in Flow right now. And I think Flow pioneered a lot of these modern, yeah.
Maybe they did, I don't know.
Yeah, Flow pioneered a lot of these modern like growth practices and like all these apps, they just copy from each other because it really works. So this one's important because I think it's an important concept to grasp. What they realized is that for Oppo, what they realized is that the motivation leading up to the paywall, right, building that storyline, it really mattered because like once they did that, they saw the trial sign up conversion rate like skyrocket. Like it's crazy. It's like 100+%, right? So actually, maybe it's better to show you guys from Marvin here. Because we have it here. Yeah. Yeah, so you can kind of see their onboarding flow. Oops, sorry. Right, they have a bunch of questions, right? What's your daily average screen time? How old are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then they immediately show you, okay, the bad news is that you're going to spend 22 years on your phone, which is terrible. But the good news is we can save you like 6 years if you use Oppo, right? So like, think of it as like the consumer side, right? It's like, oh shit, like now I have to use this app. Motivation goes up. And then next, let's see. Right, I believe this is the one that they also kind of copied from Flow, right? Let's solidify it as a fist bump. So you see this pattern a lot in different apps, which is like, okay, let's do a commitment pact, right? Flow has this screen as well. And this is, it's kind of like, you might think it's cringe or it's tacky, but it actually works, right? Like, okay, now let's like, this is like a deal, right? Like fist bump, like we're gonna get this done. Then they show the paywall. And once they A/B tested this, they realized, hey, like conversion rates really skyrocket. Yeah. Yeah, so I believe like, again, it depends on the category. This has worked very well for self-improvement apps, health and fitness apps in general. And it's important to see what your category equivalents are doing because these apps, they have huge growth teams and they're testing like hundreds and hundreds of A/B tests every year. So why reinvent the wheel when you can kind of like so-called copy or steal some of these ideas from them, right? But again, going back to my main point, start simple, get the product market fit, then iterate your way because there's a lot of low-hanging fruits that are just there for you to kind of learn and iterate on. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let you guys just go and digest all these yourselves because I don't have a lot of time. I need to hand off over to Vahe. But Charlie, can you bring us back to the slides and I'll just wrap
Yep.
up the last few variables. Yeah. Yeah, I could spend like a day talking about this. I was only given 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a huge topic.
Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, so this is a wall of text, but basically everything there's so many variables that goes into the pricing page. I'm just gonna touch on this like 2-3 minutes, right? I mentioned paywall type, right? Conversion word of mouth. Like there's a reason why the top apps are usually freemium. If you read in between the lines, it's really because like a lot of people using apps don't want to pay. How do you get them to drive growth for your app? That's a big question. Billing intervals, right? You see all sorts of billing intervals. There's weekly, monthly, 3 months, 6 months, yearly. I've even seen like 2 years or 3 years in certain app categories, right? The longer the billing interval, the better retention. My assumption here is most of you are building consumer app subscription products, and you want people to be on the yearly, the 2-year, the 3-year plan rather than the weekly, monthly. That's because retention. There's a good article by Jason Cohen, who runs WP Engine, that talks about this concept. He calls it max MRR. Just Google like max MRR Jason Cohen, and you find the article. It's crucial to understand how SaaS math works, right? But I'm not going to touch on it too long. Trials, right? Tests, no trial, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days. I've even seen 60 days. I think Peloton does 60 days, right? Basically, most apps convert better with a trial, but you want to test different ranges because it might differ for your specific category, depending on the competition and so on and so forth. Consider the willingness to pay curve for pricing. I think this is a little bit more advanced when you're a little bit larger. But think of it as like a curve sloping down this way. And different types of customers have different willingness to pay, depending on the value they're getting from your app, right? Some people will never want to pay. It's just what it is. Some people are willing to pay like this amount, right? Maybe you are based in like lower purchasing power country. You won't pay as much. And then some people are like, holy shit, this app is great. It's like, it blew my mind. Like, I want to pay more. So this is why you see apps like Trails, right? They just recently released a peak plan, right? So they used to only have free and plus. Now they have the peak plan because like some people are hardcore. Like they really want to like to draw their own maps or something. That's why Duolingo, they only had free and super, but now they have max. They got super family, they got max family. That's why Netflix added an ad supported tier, because they want to go down that willingness to pay curve and capture users that weren't able to pay previously. So consider that concept as you start to develop more onboarding leading up to the paywall matters. I've shown you the Opal example. I bet you can find a lot more examples if you just like scroll around more than for your specific category. Design elements on the paywall matters, and I think Vahe will touch on this, so I'm not going to touch on this too much. But TLDR, new apps, figure out PMF first. Pick a simple design, ship it. That's all that matters. Ship it, validate your idea. Once it gets revenue, users, you have the traffic to start A/B testing, then good, go and test. Optimize through experimentations. The largest teams are running hundreds of tests, thousands of tests. This is true. And if you want to compete, you have to run tests too. The ideas are all out there. Check out abtest.design. Check out the podcast that RevenueCat has. It's fantastic because we actually curated a lot of examples from that. Check out Marvin, see what people are doing, and just keep iterating on it. Yeah, I'm gonna end off here. I think I overshot, but hopefully it's useful.
No, that was super useful. Yeah. All right, I will go ahead and let Vahe explain what Paywalls.design is and kind of basically why all the advice that you're about to give is going to be super trustworthy. And then my dogs are very much whining at me to go outside right now. So I'm going to just disappear for a second while you're explaining that, but I can hear you. So I'll be right back.
That's all right. That's yeah.
Thanks, thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Jovin, for the first part. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Vahe. I founded a Paywalls.design, and Paywall.design is a services where we are helping different consumer subscription apps, mostly after product market fit, optimizing their revenue strategy. It calls Paywall.design, but we are not only helping consumer apps with the paywalls, but also overall like 360 revenue strategy, helping to optimize their pricing, their placement of the paywalls, when they should charge the customers, how they should design their if it's a freemium app, how to design your free plan, how to design your premium plan, how to do the discount strategies, etc. Before this, I used to work with different kind of consumer app companies for the past 5-6 years. I was working lately at Flow, then I quit my job and started this company. A lot of kind of a big consumer apps are our clients. You probably at least you probably are using at least one of our clients on a daily basis, and just as I mentioned, helping them to optimize running all of these paywall or monetization experiments, and helping them to improve their ARPU and their conversion rates. That's for the Paywalls.design. And today, I just want to kind of go through not kind of a too detailed topics or too kind of advanced topics, but just probably go through some a design patterns or design elements that by changing on your paywalls or adding to your paywalls, you could probably improve the conversion rate and just earn more revenue from your users. If Charlie, you move to other slides. So some time ago, when I started the company, it was last December, I put this tweet where I mentioned, okay, I built 100 plus paywalls. Now we built 100 plus paywalls in 3 days. But at that time, 100 plus paywalls that generated over a 50 million revenue. And there are 5 things that always boost paywall conversion rates. And I'll just go through all of this kind of 5 elements and just try to discuss and kind of show why it's kind of is important and how it can help you to improve your conversion rate. The first one is animated elements to boost conversion rate. So what happens now? I mean, you heard about this a lot, about user attention span, etc., etc. And then when you hit users with a static screens, usually they treat it as another banner or as another screen, and they might just dismiss or just click next or whatever, just quickly pass the page. So it is very important to try to capture their attention when they hit to your paywall. And one of the best ways to do it, especially this is true for mostly for the discount or sales related paywalls, is having some sort of animated elements to your paywall. You can animate any element. It can be a graphic, it can be an icon, it can be subtle movement, anything that kind of makes user to interrupt the scrolling or interrupt the going through the onboarding flow, just changing all of the going from one screen to another screen. Here's an example of we did for a fintech app. They're running a Black Friday, if I'm not mistaken, Black Friday or some sort of other a sales campaign. Having this a lifetime discount label moving through the paywall really improved the conversion rate. I think we had a more than 2x improvement on the conversion rate compared to another paywall, which was basically the same thing but without the this animated movement of the lifetime discount label.
Have you found is that universally true? Because I've frequently heard, and I've had this in not paywalls, but in some other areas that I've tested. I've seen animations actually drop conversions. And the theory, at least to me, was always that instead of clicking through, people are actually stopping and looking at the thing. And it slows them down, and then maybe they get distracted or something like that, and then they never fully convert.
Yeah. So I never tested it outside of a paywall, to be honest. I'm not sure how is it within in-app.
Yeah, I'm more curious within paywalls because I have animations in mind, but I was never sure if that was actually a bad idea or not.
Yeah, I usually say animations especially for discount related paywall, they tend to kind of perform way better. I don't. One of these examples that is not here is like the spin the wheel paywalls. When instead of just giving users a discount, you show them a spin that the wheel that spins, and that's like a animation that goes around like a 2-3 seconds, which is like, you think about 2 seconds, that's short, but it's not short. Like the user look the wheel spinning for 2 seconds to get to get a discount, and tries to I've tested tens of times. It always works. For the main kind of onboarding paywalls, it's kind of a mixed. I saw cases that it's working and some cases that it's not working, but I yet to see a case for like a promotion related paywall that doesn't work. I imagine it's also kind of maybe behavioral thing, because maybe people associate discounts or something with like excitement, and like with animation, it is easy to show excitement.
Yeah.
You're popping balloons or having the spin wheels or a flash a flash sale label or whatever going to the paywall. I think it's kind of a part of the excitement that users associate discounts or promotional sales with. That's why it works. But again, for the regular paywalls like onboarding, I always saw kind of mixed data. I think it's better to test to see how it is working for you. But if you're running promotional paywall, definitely at least the spin wheel is kind of one of the best techniques you could use.
Good to know. You want to go to the next one?
Moving forward, yeah. Let's go to the next one. So next one we have the save 50%, which is so this is about not messing up with your copywriting. People try to be clever with the copywriting on the paywalls, but that's not good. Usually keep it as simple as possible, and it's always going to work. Instead of coming out with a fancy wording or fancy kind of headlines for a paywall and putting a lot of text, even you don't need a lot of text on your paywall. Just put if it's a promotional paywall, just put the percentage of the discount or the price. Like in this example, say 50%, and just maybe a 2 other lines about the features or the benefits or the value proposition that users will get after subscribing. And that's probably is enough. And usually it is enough. And you don't really need to. And when you're trying to be way clever with your copywriting, usually it messes up with the conversion rate, because you can, even changing your words and the words you use, you can create second thoughts on user mind. And maybe they don't understand what they're subscribing to or what is the offer exactly. I think just keep the paywall as simple as possible. Just have the price, just have the discount percentage, and just probably a couple of words about the value that they are gonna get. That should be enough. I'm pretty sure testing this against another paywall which tries to be more clever and have a lot of information on it might not work, unless you have a very expensive price point. If you have a very expensive price point, let's say you are charging $130 per year, that's very expensive price for a subscription. Usually you need to have a long paywalls for it to kind of justify why you're charging $130.
You're essentially communicating value just with the amount of text. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. A long form paywall or multi-step paywall. The idea of the multi-step paywall is not hitting users with a paywall. So this is the features, this is the price, just pay, but making them to go through several screens where you could build trust. You can remove the trial anxiety. You can share some thoughts about value and how the app can help them. Usually, if you have a very expensive subscription, more than $100 or even more than $80, you should consider doing either long form paywalls or multi-step paywalls. But if you're charging $20 per year, and let's say you are a utility app, all right, you don't need to have these clever things. People download the app to scan a QR code. They just want to get.
They're just trying to solve a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you just add all of this fancy paywall stuff, you're just gonna create kind of additional friction for the users, and that's gonna decrease your conversion rate.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, the price point is very important. It kind of dictates what kind of paywall you should have. Is it should be a short to straight to the point, or more fancier or like long different steps, etc., etc.
Cool. You want me to go to the next one?
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. Here we have, again, getting back to discount paywalls. One thing that works the best is having your discount percentage like presented really big on your paywall, because users mostly care, okay, what is the discount I'm getting? And then secondly, okay, what's the price that I'm gonna pay for? And because if you lead to the price, you're gonna scare them away. If you lead with a discount and like at 80%, big like 80% or 68% off in this case, and then you have the price, the first thought is, oh, I'm getting like 80% discount.
Uh-oh. We lost Vahe. Man, it was just it's like a dramatic drop off there. Okay, well, while we're
Did you lost me?
Oh, he came back quickly. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back?
Yeah, you lost me. Yeah.
So dramatic.
I was gonna I was gonna say don't lead with a price when you're doing with the discount paywalls. Lead with discount percentage, because when you're putting like 80% off big on the paywall screen, the first thought user is gonna have, oh, I'm saving 80%, and then you're gonna look at the price. When you lead with a price, say, oh, $20. This is not discounted $20, but the first impression is the price, not the discount. So it's kind of the way of you perceive user, like you kind of like nudge user to think, and you probably kind of need to package this a good deal, which is and a little bit of discount, or you're saving 80%. The price, then okay, you can look at the price. Yeah, we can discuss. But like you're saving like 80%. Like leading with a big discount is good. Like these timers and stuff. I mean, this is like very, very old technique from e-commerce, like whatever. But like people think it is not working. But usually you can see you are not gonna see like a very huge improvement, but you're gonna see some improvements. Like probably just putting a timer or countdown timer, you are not gonna see like a 50% improvement on ARPU, but you might see like 4%, 5%. And it depends on what kind of revenue you are making, what is the volume of your app. It could be transformed into a good amount of money. So you can have it, but in your mind, it should be like, okay, this is not gonna be a deal breaker or game changer. It's just gonna help me to optimize.
If you have timers like that, and you're actually like they're real, like the discount goes away after that timer ends, wouldn't that decrease like conversions that you get later, because people have that idea of like, well, I'll wait until a discount shows back up in their head?
That's a good point, actually. Well, the only kind of like I saw a couple customer support requests when people accidentally dismiss the paywall. They're like, oh, how can I go back to the paywall? It was just limited time offer. I want to go back and grab the discount. I didn't see the cases where people will wait, because like if you put the timer 5 minutes, no one is gonna like sit and stare to the screen for 5 minutes until the discount is gonna disappear.
Well, it's more like if they decide not to go with it, presuming it's not a hard paywall, so there's a freemium mode, and then later they decide like, oh, this is worth it. Do you usually have this discount show that second time too, or is it kind of like
you probably always need to show this like multiple times, not only once. It's like the way it works is like if you imagine a curve where you have in one axis you have the number of times you present this paywall, and the other axis you have the conversion rate. When you start to show it once, twice, 3 times, you'll see the big increase in conversion rate. Then in each time, you're just gonna get diminishing returns. It's just gonna go down over time. And like if you just do one, you're gonna miss out probably like a lot of opportunities there. Like you probably need to circle it around like a couple times. Just one of the reasons is that people might think, oh, I'm just gonna pass now. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And if you don't show it tomorrow, you'll miss out this user. You still can have like this timer, and you can say, okay, this timer is for this session. This is on this paywall. Like right now, it's available for 5 minutes. You miss it, maybe you will see it in 2 days. Maybe you will not.
There's an interesting question here that's relevant to this from Montes.
Sure.
is it more effective to use numbers and the word like you are getting 50% off, or to use plain text like you are getting it for half the price? Have you tested anything like that before?
Usually, I don't think I tested it before, to be honest, but I think numbers should work better, because
That would be my suspicion.
like
but
a lot of users, like if you think about it, a lot of users don't know what it means, like half the price or like the quarter of the price. If you, again, this is also about like, don't try to be clever. If it's like 50% off, just say this is 50% off.
yeah,
It just, where is it to digest numbers than like a plain text? And that, I never tested it, to be honest, but that would be my assumption.
that makes sense. Cool. All right, let's move to the next one. I do want to make sure we get to
Yep.
questions, and we're already getting kind of
Yeah.
short on, like I knew we would. Such a dense topic.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So another one is, again, we talk about discounts a lot today. But like, okay, the another thing is like, when you're doing discount sales, always try to package it and give it a reason why this is happening. You don't want to create a impression that, oh, this is your subscription is not selling and you're doing like discounts every other day. Try to package it with something. If some user didn't open your app for 5 days and they come back and you have a discount offer, say, oh, this is a welcome back discount offer. We are very happy you came back after 5 days. We are giving you a discount. If somebody,
I think we lost your audio.
can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna say, if somebody uninstalled your app and installed again, and you can track this if this is an iOS app, again, say, and you have an offer, say this is a welcome back offer, and don't say, oh, we just have like a 63% off or something. You always give a reason. Like, there's a lot of kind of the second time offers that most of the apps are giving to users when they decline the onboarding paywall or they don't subscribe within like a few hours. Don't just say, oh, you this is the offer, just like this is a newcomer offer. You always kind of it kind of makes it selective. It makes a bit personalized, not crazy personal, but at least a bit personalized, and gives a reason why I'm getting this discount. And one thing you don't want to have is an impression that you own.
I think we lost
You
your
don't
audio.
want.
Oh, it's back. It's back.
How about? Wait. This is this. Let me remove my iPhone. Wait. I think
Livestorm is doing its weird bug again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, you don't want to, even if you have sales every day, you don't want to make the impression that it is just there. You just give them some packaging and like give a reason why it is happening. Yeah, this is it about it. What we have here. So, and I think it's the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is comes to the point when many times the Blinkist timelines and the feature comparison tables, the FAQ pages and long paywall, that doesn't work. Just if you need to do two things, I think what makes the best paywall is you try to do two things. Explain.
We lost your audio again. I think it's back.
Yeah, it's back. Let me just. So do two things, right? You need to show the value and explain the price. That if you do that, I think it's enough. And if you add, you don't want to try to add like a lot of cognitive friction with FAQ pages, long information that user doesn't need. Sometimes I feel like people want to create this long form paywalls, add any information possible. I also saw cases when you add like a help center, like intercom button or something. This, like most of the cases when you do such stuff, it just creates a lot of cognitive friction to users. They don't know where to focus, what to do. You need to just, I don't know, like even if you're doing it, you gotta just make it super clear. And everything you add to your paywall, you need to understand why you're adding it. Just don't add because everyone is doing it. You need to kind of you can always, of course, look for best practices, etc., but like you need to understand why why you are doing this. And if you just nail on showing the value that users are going to get, and the best way, and also present your price in the best way, I think you're gonna have very successful paywall.
Interesting. Okay, so based on what you just said, I'll just go to this. Was like a pre-canned question I had added, and there's another one in there I want to ask related to what you just said too. But like the Blinkist style paywall is one I hear over and over and over again, is one that wins out in people's tests. But it sounds like you're saying don't necessarily just go with that. Like and this actually answers some other questions we've gotten, which is like,
I would not. Yeah, I think I would
getting
not
started. You
just
think
go with a
getting started?
Blinkist paywall.
Sorry, I cut you off. Say that again.
I was sorry, I cut you off too. So I was gonna say, I don't think I would recommend people to just go with a Blinkist paywall, to be honest. I think half of the people who say the Blinkist paywalls work for them is they just measure their A/B test wrong. They just look at a conversion rate.
They're looking at that trial conversion rate.
Yeah, but then but then what happens to your ARPU, and then what is your trial cancel rate? I think I know I strongly have a belief that like half of the people who say the Blinkist paywall work for them, they just measure their A/B test wrong. I'm not saying this is interesting. I'm not saying this is a bad paywall, not really. But I mean, if you're just gonna hit your users on how your free trial works, and you are just another, what is that, like I don't know, like a wine scanner app that like nobody heard of. They don't know the brand. I mean, this works for Blinkist too, because they know the brand of Blinkist.
Right.
They see
the cohort of users coming in are very different than the cohort of users coming into your not super well-known mega brand.
Exactly. And then you go to Instagram, you see the Blinkist ad. You go to like whatever other social network, you see the Blink. I mean, you kind of have some expectations from Blinkist, and they can be, okay, we are Blinkist. If you want to use, this is how your trial, and that's how it's gonna work. If you're just another, I don't know, like AI wrapper app that like nobody heard of, and you just gonna say, oh, this is how your free trial gonna work, without and explaining users what is the value that you are going to get, I don't think it's gonna work. One way that this can work, if you make it like a multi-step paywall, like you have, let's say you have like 3-4 screens before this paywall says, oh, this is our wine scanning app, right? You have a video that shows I'm scanning the wine, and this is like information about it, and then we have a, by the way, to do this, we have a free trial, and we'll send you a reminder 2 days before the trial ends. You explain all of the value, then you explain the trial, and then you hit with this and say, okay, and this is exactly how it's gonna work, and this is the price. If you want, you can subscribe. If you don't want, if it's a hard paywall, you can
communicate the value still.
Right, exactly.
This paywall sort of famously doesn't communicate any value at all.
Yeah, this is nothing. It just says
just trust building.
If you just see this paywall, it's like a purple and some text, like what is this, like what is this app is about, like I don't know, like, it's just, and for users, if you think you put like a 10 onboarding screens and before this, and it's enough for users to understand the value and just say this is how your trial is gonna work, I think that's wrong. You are mistaken. But like, again, one of the most successful cases I saw with a Blinkist paywall is when it's paired with a multi-step paywall. When you improve show the value, then explain that notification sending, reminder, blah blah, and then you show them the actual timeline.
And to your point about a lot of cases where this wins being, it might be people measuring it wrong, and also to answer Trent Gilroy's question about, is there an easy way for RevenueCat paywalls to test to do A/B tests? The answer to those kind of goes together, which is yes. So RevenueCat has an experiments feature that is all about running these tests. And I think the reason that our experiments is well built, and it's a good thing to be using, is that you don't just look at trial conversions. We will show you the delta on the entire subscription lifecycle. So you'll see trial conversions, you'll see conversions to paying from that, and then you can keep going down the line to the churn, the actual LTV you're getting out of customers, and we'll measure it over a year, so you can see, yes, maybe you're getting a huge spike in trial conversions, but then if everybody churns after the first, well, before they even start or after the first month or whatever, then is that really the winner? Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting.
And people think that that doesn't happen when, oh, if I get a lot of trials, then I will have a higher RPU. But like it happens like very, very, very like every day. It's like you can trick user to take a free trial, but then they will cancel it. You can trick the RPU, you can trick the trial start, but you can't trick the RPU. That's the hardest thing about this.
We are at time, but do you have a few extra minutes, or do you have something you need to get to? Because I do have some.
Oh no, all good. No, we can spare a few more minutes.
Okay, Joven, if you need to bounce, feel free. But I'm gonna.
All good too. I'm very interested.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Invested in this topic now.
Like I'm sitting here.
This is great.
From the cup of experts. This is really great. So Trent also had a question, which I think is really interesting, which is, do you have opinions on feature-based paywall messaging? So showing all of your features, like a list of features, versus review-based paywalls, showing a ton of 5-star reviews. And I'll add to this question, or keeping it even more simple and just having like a discount or even more plain.
So I usually see social proof / review-based paywalls having higher conversion than feature-based paywalls, because like there's the thing, right? Let's say you have a paywall, you put like a 15 bullet points of what features you're offering. No one is gonna read all these 15 bullet points. But if you're putting a paywall that says, oh, we have 5.8 out of 5, 4.8 out of 5 rating, 5 million whatever, and 3 like very short, like 1 line reviews, and you can make this service authentic, I think it's gonna work. One mistake that a lot of kind of people do with reviews, they put as seen on, let's say, Times or Forbes, they put a lot of like a more formal reviews. Like people don't trust this. It should be like authentic. If you just put like a screenshot from App Store Connect or whatever, it's gonna work way better, because people know this is more probably true than like exaggerated or like fake or like traditional media things, etc., etc. You're probably gonna see like higher conversion rate if you just put like a plain 1-line reviews, even if they have like not much context. That just, oh, I love this app, like this is the best app, solved all of my issues. You're probably gonna see like a higher conversion rate coming through these reviews than like a well curated reviews. And but it's also a bit different for Android versus iOS. Like for Android, usually the feature-based paywall is actually a combination of like a feature plus social proof can work way better.
Oh, interesting.
That I don't know why it is, to be honest. Like I tested it like a couple times, not too many, but like a couple times. Usually on Android, the clever things, not clever, but like fancy things you do on iOS, when you do on Android, it's not necessarily always works. But like for Android, I think when you do like a bullet point feature list and then couple it with a reviews, it works way better. And then, but also, if you have coming back to my point, when you have a very expensive subscription, let's say you're charging like $150 per year, I think having the combination of like feature list or reviews, it's gonna work better, because if you're gonna pay $150, I think you are more already like a prosumer product, not consumer product, and you probably want to know what are gonna get in return to your $150.
Even if you're not, though, are you presupposing that the onboarding flow also communicates what some of those features are?
Yeah, but then you forget, I think, easily if you see like.
Well, but what I mean is, in the case where you were saying review-based paywalls generally are what you'd recommend, is that also with the expectation that like you still should be communicating what the app does in your onboarding and what the pro features do in the onboarding?
I mean, not necessarily, but like you should explain. I mean, on onboarding, you don't need to draw like a division between like freemium and premium. Okay. You just need to explain what the kind of a product does, and then on your paywall, you can talk about a feature list and more details on all of the reviews that you have, and they're good. I saw many cases when personalizing reviews boost ARPU. When you, for example, on onboarding, you have questions like what's your gender or what's your age, and on a paywall, when you're showing a question, you can show you're showing reviews. You can show reviews from the same gender or from the same age group.
Yeah.
I think that it's not gonna bring like huge wins, but like it's gonna improve. Yeah, I see many cases when it improves the ARPU. Yeah, small wins. Yeah, and yeah, I would say if you have an expensive subscription on iOS, you probably need to do combination of like all of the features plus reviews. But also it's kind of compared to when you're selling like a $4 weekly subscription, when people they just want to get into it. They don't like
They just
want it right
They
now.
want a bunch of stuff to read. Yeah, that's
exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Especially if it's more of a clear single purpose app where they already know why they're there.
Yeah, one use case app. They just want to get to it to be able to use the app.
Yeah, I won't make you do this because I'm already over on your time. But I was gonna have you roast my paywall. But here you can see already looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the list of things, and I should probably just completely swap that out to be.
Yeah, I think you one thing. I would change the title. Don't say Dark Noise Pro. Say
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Say like sleep better, upgrade.
So instead of telling them what the name of it is, the Pro version is explain the value there.
Yeah, and then you're gonna move the user to a call to action like upgrade. Let's say upgrade Dark Noise Pro. And then I would change. I don't remember. So there was this app that in like similar category of yours, and they would allow users to preview a white noise or something on a paywall. And I didn't work with them, but I heard it helped them to improve the conversion rate a lot, because like people kind of glimpsed what they're gonna get, what is like behind a paywall. You can make this. Yeah, get rid of all of this text, put nice visuals, probably make it like a multi-step paywall.
Sure. Yeah.
I
guess also this is a question I think I saw it pop up. It's come up a lot when I've talked to people is having a single plan showing that's by default and then having the all plans be smaller and down below. Is that better, or is it better to just show all of the plans immediately?
So like let's say there are like you have two paywalls. One is like an annual first, and you also have a weekly plan, but a weekly is hidden. And you have the same app. They have two products equally shown on a paywall, both weekly and annual. On a paywall where both products are equally shown, I guarantee you will have higher conversion rate. Okay. But if you look at the ARPU, the paywall where like there is single product and then which is annual high price point and the weekly is hidden, you will get higher ARPU because you're gonna lead more users to go to it annual. I think there's like again this other like a misconception. They're like, oh, let's put a lot of products in a paywall. I don't think that's a good idea. It kind of complicates. Oh, which one should I choose? Like it just kind of like you gotta just. I think the best way to do it is just making user to feel that this is the good decision. They want to be sure this is just go with it.
Give them a default.
Yeah,
it's like when you go to a restaurant and there's the thing that says popular tagged on one of the items. It's just like, okay, sweet, I'll do that one. Yeah, don't make me like sit there and debate what
exactly.
I should do.
And there's this thing that says like if you want somebody to take off their coat, the best way to do it is just warm up the room, and not ask them, oh, take off your coat, just warm up the room. It's the same thing, it's just like if you make user to feel confident about like everything you're offering and kind of your price and everything else, and lead them to one price or like one or two prices, it usually gonna have like a better results compared to having like weekly, lifetime.
Yeah.
many. They're like there's this thing that some people put like lifetime, and they test, and they say, oh, this working the annual monthly lifetimes works better than annual monthly. But what happens when you look deep on data is just one person purchased like lifetime,
Yeah,
and
and
then
that
like
can push up
and
your
like mixed up all of the results, and then no, it's not working. Just somebody like maybe like unintentionally bought like lifetime product, and like yeah, it's like I don't know. I usually like just to have like a 1, 2, and like but like leading users to 1, and then having some other options for them.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And similar, I think you kind of touched on this a minute ago, but Andy has a question about doing feature-based paywalls. So like if somebody, if it's a freemium app and they click on a specific feature that's gated, does it make sense to have paywalls that are designed around the feature that they were trying to access? So there's different paywalls for different spots.
Well, if you have a very big app, probably yes, like at the size of Flow. But if not, no, because again, from my experience, the impact on the RPU from doing this like a contextual paywalls, when you personalize the paywall based on the feature or the path that users are going through, it has some impact, but it's not as crazy. And as long as you're not making like a lot of revenue per year, like hundreds of millions, that 4% or 2% uplift is not gonna be a meaningful impact for you.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze, and probably most of us don't have enough traffic going through that specific path to even get good numbers anyway. So it's better to focus more on the
there are many more low hanging like high impact things you can do that like it's gonna bring you better kind of results compared to doing like contextual paywalls.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess this is a Mantis question, and maybe this is kind of a similar answer, but is it better to have one single unified paywall design for both light theme and dark theme, or to have separate designs for the two themes?
No, I think you can have the same. I think you can have the same design as long as the tool you use, or if it's native, it's not breaking the UI. You know what I mean? If you just make sure the UI you are not breaking the UI, I think it's okay to have like a one theme paywall.
Have you ever tested the difference between those two paths?
I didn't never saw like a successful
meaningful
case, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, there was one or more. This is a good one and kind of one that I had questioned. I think there was a couple that were kind of similar, but basically, and this is kind of to both of you, but like, what's a good example of just a hot paywall to start with? Like, you're just now releasing your app. Obviously, you aren't doing any tests right away. And Joven, you were even saying like, maybe don't focus on A/B testing at the initial release. Wait until your top of funnel is getting users in before you really focus on impact or improving that. So like, what's just a good thing to start with?
I think probably look at what your competitors are doing, and mostly they have similar paywalls. And just
what tool would you use to look at what your competitors are
you should use Mobin. That's the thing. Yeah. Just go to Mobin. Let's say you have a dating app. Just search for like a dating app. Look what they are using. Just copy their paywall. To be honest, I mean, don't do the Blinkist timeline. Most probably just look what your competitors are doing and do that, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good starting point, because honestly at Mobbin we did the same. There was this like other product called shotdeck.com. They do like Mobbin but for film stills. We just copied their paywall. And then once we had enough traffic and can test, like we did those tests.
And you're at like a good starting point at least.
Yeah,
that makes sense. All right, well, I will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you both for the extra time. This was incredibly valuable, at least very selfishly for me, and it sounds like in the chat also for lots of other people. So appreciate your time. I guess really quickly, where can people find both of you online? I'll start with you, Vahe.
Twitter. I think on LinkedIn, I'm pretty active on Twitter compared to LinkedIn. But if you message me on Twitter or LinkedIn, you should hear a reply.
And it's just your name is your
just or just Google that, or just like search for Paywalls.design. it's me or that like Paywall.design page, same thing basically. I'm gonna reply from that account too. So however you prefer.
Perfect. And then Joven, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of a lurker on Twitter, but you can follow me and DM me. I co-DM a lot of people, so I'm quite active on Twitter. It's Jove Liu, JOVLIEW. You can find me on X. That's probably the only social media I use. Other than that, you can follow
Or the
like
contact
Marvin.
page on Marvin.com.
Yeah, you can
Marvin.design?
follow us on Marvin. Now it's Marvin. We bought the Twitter handle. We paid a lot for that.
Nice,
but
nice.
it's cleaner with just Marvin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can follow us there as well. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So thank you all for joining. Next Tuesday, today's Thursday, right? Yeah. Next Tuesday is our next one of these. And that's going to be on building reliable, scalable apps with AI using Tempo. So that's an interesting topic for me because I've been in the figuring out the vibe coding game for the last few months. And certainly the reliable part has been something I've struggled with. So I'm curious to learn from them about, what the best way to approach that is. So cool. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Have a good day.